Alright guys, let us now do some work on the register activity. So as you might expect, the very first thing we'll do is work on the XML. By the way, this is something I've been doing and I don't think I've explained it. But if you hold down Control and you click an element in your code, for example this activity register, it will take you to that. So now it's opened up the activity for me. If you do it with a variable, so for example this auth in my login activity, hold down Control and click auth, it will take me to the declaration where it was actually created. Something worth keeping in mind, I have been doing it as second nature without explaining what's going on, which isn't great. Alright, so we're in activity register and we can start designing it. Luckily though, we don't need to work too hard on this because in our login activity we can simply just grab all of this and throw it there. So all we have to do, let's actually open this, all we have to do is change this to sign up. Okay, so what will we collect for our sign up? Email and password definitely have to be there, but also important is our username and the password again. So they have to write the password twice so that we ensure that they've written it properly. So those are the 3 items that we need to collect. Anything else can be added though, it's totally up to you. You can add date of birth so you know when what their age is. You can add nationality if that's important, maybe phone number if you need to send them SMSs. It's totally up to you. You can collect as much information as you need. For us though, we just need a username so that we know what to call them, and we need the email. Perhaps, okay, we'll also add name, first name and last name just to round it up so that we can personalize the app for them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly design this. I'm following a similar design pattern, although I think I'll get rid of the drawballs. I'm following a similar design pattern, so I'll just quickly copy everything and I will throw the code into the description so that you guys can copy it as well. Alright, here we go. So here's the registration activity designed. As you can see, it's very similar to the login activity. I've even simplified it more. I got rid of the images because I didn't want to go looking for more images for these extra fields. If you already have some, please go ahead and use them. So we have our username at the top, ID username and hint is username. We have our email below that. Then we have our password, and we still use input type as text password, and another password field with the ID of password again and the hint of confirm password so they can type it again. We'll use this for some validation. It will also have text password as the input type, and below that we have our register and the text, our register button, and the text is sign up. And then finally we have a text view that says already have an account, if they already have an account and they just need to log in. So just following the standards that we all know. Alright, so that's done. Now we can go over to register activity.java, close everything else and connect. So context, and context as always is equal to this. Now we have our 4 edit texts. We have our button, and finally we have our text view, and I'll just call it text view login because it's going to send us to the login screen. Right, now we can connect. So we say username, find view by ID, r.id.username. And we'll duplicate this how many times? 6. So control D 6 times, and we start changing things accordingly. For this one, the ID was password again. And there we go. And then we connect we put click listeners on our button. So new on click listener, and also on our text view for the login. Actually, duplicate that and login like so. So as before with our login activity, this one will be very simple. Start activity, new intent, context, and login activity dot class. So that's already done. Now we can focus on this. And as before, once again, we always start by collecting the information. So string, username, string is equals to get. Sorry, no, you start with the is equals to username, then get text. Dot to string. And we duplicate this 4 times now. This becomes email string. And this is email. This is password string. And that's password. And finally we have confirm string, and this is confirm password. Very good. Next, the same validation. So again, we want all of these to be filled. So what I'll do is I'll open it up. Text utils dot is empty, username string, like so, but I'll open it up so that it's neater. I'll put them on their own line, put the or, then I can duplicate, get rid of that last or, and this will be password. Oh no, let's go in order. Email string, password string, and confirm string. Good. And then if this is empty, then same as last time, we simply tell them, no, copy that and paste it there. Say okay so that it imports the toast class. So please fill all fields, and if it is not, so else. Now, before we start doing the actual registration, another bit of validation, we want to make sure this and this are the same. So they've typed in the same password as the confirm password. So very simply, if password string dot equals confirm string. So something worth noting, you cannot compare strings in Java like so, because strings are considered to be independent objects. I'm not sure that's the correct phrase, but in any case, even though this says, for example, password, that's the password, and this also says password, if we use the equivalence operator, it's not looking at the contents, it's not looking at that password. It's considering these strings to be independent objects, and they are not equivalent regardless of what those independent objects actually hold. So instead, you should use dot equals, because this will actually look at the contents and not the object. Yes, so a little bit of fundamental Java there. Okay, so now we've checked that they've put in all the fields, and we've also checked that their password is the same as their confirmation. So now we can register them. So again, we'll just say register user, and we will throw in our email string and our password string. just following a very similar pattern to our login activity. So now we click this, we go here, we create method, and we select register activity, and we get our method signature, and in there we can finally open up our assistant. And now we are on step 4. So we did step 5, which was for logging in, but we couldn't test it until we did step 4, which is to actually register someone. So to create a new account, you simply run the create user with email and password method. So let's do that. As always, it needs the Firebase off. So once again, let's close this just for now. To the very top, actually, we can work smart instead of hard by pasting that and pasting that right there, and then we go back down, and now we say auth.create user with email and password, that one. We throw in those two details, the email string and the password string, and once again we can terminate and leave it at that, and it will work. But as we discussed previously, we don't want to do that. It may lead to errors. Let's look at the provided code. It follows a similar process. You simply add an onComplete listener and you do an if statement. So let's get rid of my termination. Go to the next line and simply say .add onComplete listener. We terminate it, and inside we say new onComplete listener. It gives us this code, and we can throw in our if statement. So if task not true, if task dot is successful, then do this, else do that. For the else part, again, just some code just some placeholder code which we will replace later with better user experience. Something went wrong, not nearly enough, but it'll do for now. And in here, once again, we can log. Actually, we can even copy this entire thing. Copy that and throw it here, but we will still read it because I'd like to explain. So press OK to import those two classes. So what's actually happening here? We log it, so this now can be register. Actually, reg is enough, and we say registration successful. And Firebase current user is equals to auth.get current user, intent is equals to new intent, context and main activity, and then start activity, and once again finish. So why are we going to the main activity? We've just created an account. Should we not go to the login activity and login? The way Firebase works is once you create an account, it will automatically log you in with that account. So that will be the current user by default. I'm guessing there's a way that you can change that functionality so that you actually make the person log in, but this is totally fine, and it's actually enough for our purposes. It's good for them. I'm satisfied with them taking us directly to the main activity. So that's why is that way. Everything else just stays the same, and now we can test this before actually changing a few things to provide a better experience to our users. Okay, so let me get my test device and we can give this a try.